Yo, what up? It's Deontay Harris with the New Orleans Saints. Y'all Saints Happy Hour podcast? Yeah. No bueno, not good. Y'all Saints takes. It's just awful. And I think it's because the drinks that y'all be drinking be having y'all a little woozy and y'all be forgetting like what team y'all talking about or something. I don't know what it is, but we gotta figure something out because it's bad. Let's regroup, reassess, and just be better, All love.
All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of Saints Happy Hour podcast. It's that time of week where we're on YouTube. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Andrew, they should share these wonderful videos. Thomas works really, really hard to make us look professional. Share the videos out in the social media world. And subscribe to Saints Happy Hour. Become a patron at saintshappyhour.com. Jill, Don, and Carlos did it this week. They know Saints Happy Hour is the best Saints podcast anywhere. They're getting the swag boxes. They're getting the merch. You get it. Try us for a month.
I love that people do this when they're 4-8.
That's right.
Like you are true Saints fans.
Yeah.
You found your home. Like I gotta say, Ralph, like quickly, I just feel like right now, and I won't name names, but there's podcasts out there. There's Saints Twitter personalities that are absolutely toxic. And I'm not going to go on a big rant and take you back to 2005, but we are lucky to have the Saints. We are lucky that they even exist in New Orleans. Right. And like sometimes, man, like these people, like I don't know, like you find out really quickly which podcasts are Saints fans and which ones are just like there to stir things up and be toxic. And I just feel like, look, man, like I'm here to root for the coach, Dennis. I'm here to root for the quarterback and support him when he gets injured and the backup when he comes in. Like I root for all those guys. And I'm really, really thankful for our community this time of year because I feel like it's a safe space away from all that madness.
And I want to say this. People got mad at me because I was like, I hate Devin White because he injured Jameis. And then he danced on his grave after week 2 this week when Jameis tried to play hurt again. And Devin White made fun of him and danced on his grave. And I said, people were like, well, you're not really that right. You're not really love Jameis that much. I said, no, wait a minute. Jameis is my freaking quarterback. The guy injured him last year, probably ended his career for Jameis. Jameis probably never going to be a starting quarterback because of that injury. Then dances on his grave. I'm a Saints fan, man. I don't like Devin White anymore. I don't care that he's at LSU. I'm a Saints fan. Forget that guy. Yeah. But here's the thing I wanted to get.
Also, that probably cost the Saints a playoff spot last year.
Probably did. Probably 100%. Here's the thing that I also want to say. Whether we don't like the Saints being 4-8, right? It's been kind of a miserable year. But the bottom line is, Andrew, this game that we're going to talk about, Saints Bucs, it's a playoff game for the Saints. They win. They kind of take destiny into their own hands in the NFC South. Whether you think that they can complete the trick and dig out the hole from 4-8, it's irrelevant. Monday, they win. They get control of their destiny, and we get more relevant football. And I want games that I care about, that I'm excited about during the week. I want more of those. So I'm fired up for this game on Monday. People think I'm ridiculous. I got emails about my column on WWL saying I'm ridiculous treating it like a playoff game. But it's a huge game. It's fun. And guess what? Dennis Allen, say whatever you want about that man. He gets his defense ready to kick Tom Brady's ass on the regular. The only time the Saints lose to Tampa and Tom Brady is when their offense lets them down.
Yeah, look, I'll come right out of the gate and say it. Like, I think they can win this division. I think they can pull this off. And I know there's immediately people like, get out of here. I don't want to hear that. Or that's ridiculous. They can't win another game. Have you watched this team play? Yes, I have. And I've also watched other NFC South teams play. And if you watch the Falcons and you watch Bucs, it's like the Saints looking in the mirror.
That's right.
They're all terrible. And here's the thing. Now, as we get later in the season, we're all starting to play each other. Somebody has to win.
Somebody has to win.
So why not the Saints? That's the thing I ask myself. Why not them? They've already beaten Atlanta once. Now they lost to Carolina on the road. They lost to Tampa in a very close game that kind of came down to the wire. And in a game where Jameis Winston had his back broken and then his foot broken and his tendon torn or whatever. And so
it was 3-3. The Saints were about to score. Ingram fumbles.
Right.
Everything changes.
So everything changes, and you just wonder if Andy Dalton had started that game, would the Saints have won? So, man, I look at these games coming up, and there's two games, Tampa and Atlanta, and if the Saints win both and they're 6-8, there's a decent shot they're in first place in the division after those 2 weeks. And I've seen those teams play. These are winnable games. Period. As bad as the Saints are, these are winnable games.
It starts Monday. And here's the thing, as I watched with Tampa, I went on the NFL Rewind, and I watched Cleveland. I watched the entire Tampa-Cleveland game because I'm a sicko. But I watched some of their older games too, Andrew. This is the thing with Tampa. They cannot run the football. And that was when they had Tristan Wirf at right tackle.
Yeah, and what's up with Fournette? I know he was out last week.
Yeah, he was out last week. They can't run the ball. Cleveland's 31st against the run. Stuffed the Tampa run game in a bag, right?
Yeah.
They can't run the ball. Their defense is, when you look at the overall picture, you say it's still pretty good. Only giving up 18.5 points a game, top 10, number 7. But their run defense, they give up 190 yards to Cleveland. Now, I know one of them was a trick play, so you kind of take that up. But Chubb ran for 100 yards. You can run the ball on Tampa now. So their defense, you can kind of control the game. So I look at this game, Andrew, and my simple checklist for the Saints is, besides don't shoot yourself in the foot and fall down the stairs like the 2022 Saints are
shoot your dick off.
That's right. Thank you, Thomas. Besides that, my two things for the Saints: run the ball and tackle in space, because Tom Brady is going to be bubble screening and throwing 4-yard passes all game long. If the Saints do those things, they'll win the game.
Yeah, I watched this Tampa offense, man, and it's short pass, slant, screen, check down to the running back. It's just over and over. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, and it really does it forces you to tackle. As soon as that guy catches the ball, and if they drop a pass, the drive stalls. If I do, they don't mess those plays up a lot because Brady is so accurate on those short throws. But if a dude drops a pass and it's 2nd and 10, then they're behind schedule and that plan doesn't really work. But every 8th pass or so, they'll go vertical. And you'll see Tom Brady, if it goes incomplete, he throws his hands up, he gestures at the official, and he's lobbying for a flag every single time. So when you watch this game and you see the Bucs go vertical, if you see the ball hit the turf, look for it. I'm telling you, it's every time Brady will start clamoring, asking for a penalty. That's how they do it. It's so annoying. It's like the World Cup soccer player going to the ground and hoping for the yellow card from the referee and just grabbing his knee and his ankle, and then he gets upset 7 seconds later. So anyway, that offense, that's how they operate. And so, it stresses your tackling, but as long as you can do that, you can be successful against them. And the Saints over the last several years have been successful. But, again, Ralph, when I look at this game, and you have Saints fans that'll say, I'm not really interested. If I can't win a Super Bowl, then I don't even want the Saints to go to the playoffs because they're just going to get curb stomped. And I just think that's a faulty way of thinking. We have seen awful teams beat the Saints. We've seen a 7-9 Seattle team win their division and then beat the Saints with Beastquake in the playoffs. So once you get in, anything can happen. And by the way, if the Saints get in, they host the game.
That's right.
They get a home game.
Can you imagine the clenched
Some team is going to be 11-6. They're going to come to New Orleans and play the whoever wins the NFC South, whatever terrible team wins the NFC South. And they're not going to be happy about a road game. And so Ralph, I just as long as the Saints aren't eliminated, I'm going to root for them to win.
That's right.
Because at the end of the day, it's not even about playoffs or not. I just want more meaningful games.
That's right.
There's nothing worse than staring into the abyss with 6 games left in the season with nothing to play for. And it's even worse this year because they don't have a first-round pick. So, just extend the window as far as you can for as many meaningful games as possible to make my Sundays more enjoyable.
Yeah. And part of the thing I think with Tampa this year and why they struggle so much is I looked at Tom Brady. I don't think he's cooked in a sense of physically he can't do it. He struggles a little bit.
No more
I think,
than last year. Yeah.
Well, accuracy. But I think the main thing is Tampa, even though they brought most people back and the team was coming back, I think they forgot the main ingredients that made Tom Brady great, in a sense of the thing that made Drew great at the end of his career. He needed certain things to thrive, right? He needed Alvin Kamara, short running back. He needed Michael Thomas, was the perfect receiver as Drew Brees' arm strength went, right? Because he could make contested catches. I think Tampa, they don't have Gronk. They don't have a running back that can catch. They don't have a slot receiver that they can count on. And those are all things that Tom Brady really, really needs.
You don't think Godwin's a slot receiver?
No, I mean they need a slot receiver like Jarvis Landry that's like, I'm just gonna catch 4 for 31 and be
Man,
cool.
I tell you, yeah, I mean Mike Evans and Godwin, like if one of them goes down, they're sunk because they're already past, I think, the level of injuries that they can tolerate. But like that would be the final nail.
That was my next question. You always tell me, and by the way, people, if you listen to this podcast, become a patron. You can get Andrew's Saints grades. He grades every Saints player every week, every play. And over the years that I've known you, you've really educated me on schematics and strategy. But you always say, Ralph, you're like, an offensive line. He's like, when it starts to get decimated, you never know who's the guy or what's the injury that's going to cause it to crumble. And you always say, usually it's losing the third guy, but sometimes it's just one guy that's super critical and it all comes down like a pile of bricks. And I look at Tampa's offensive line, Andrew, and I'm like, I'm thinking about the Juge offensive line crumbling.
It was already bad before Wirfs got hurt.
It already was bad. Now, is it to the point where we're like, man, Saints are just jailbreak, we're killing Brady? Like everybody's getting pressured. Granderson, Street, Marcus First, Jordan's looking young and spry. Like, are we to that point where it might be that way Monday?
I think we might be. Yes. So, and it's interesting. Like the Saints are getting healthier.
That's
now.
right.
It looks like Lattimore has a shot to play this week. We'll keep an eye on that. Pete Werner was back at practice. Now, they have an interesting problem with Pete Werner because Caden Ellis has been amazing. He leads the league. He leads the league in tackles the last 3 weeks.
That's right.
So Caden Ellis has been excellent. And so now it's a good problem to have where you have 3 linebackers and maybe only 2 spots. And it's like, which one do you play between Werner and Ellis? And, look, they'll figure that out. But I think, again, it's a good problem to have a good talented player back, and you figure out, the best way to give them each roles where they're all contributing. But
Ellis gives them juice in a pass rush that I don't know that Pete Werner does. I kind of want Ellis to play this game with that battered and injured Tampa line.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So I just think the Saints, we know this is a good matchup for them. It's been a favorable matchup in the past, and I think it'll be a well-contested game. And you said this earlier in the week. Tampa is not one of those teams that, like, the Saints fans that just, like, through thick and thin. I just feel like it's one thing when you go on Twitter and it's like a toxic experience. But when you're at the Dome on Sundays, the fans are generally like super supportive until the end.
Right.
Yeah, occasionally I've heard some boos and I've heard negativity, but for the most part, the energy in the Superdome, kind of regardless of the record, is always pretty good. I got to give the Saints fans that are there in person a lot of credit for how they treat the team during games, and I just know that Tampa is not like that. Tom Brady has infused the Tom Brady expectations into this team. And so they are furious. They hate that Todd Bowles is catching a lot of heat. Byron Leftwich is starting to catch a lot of heat. They're starting to get angry with Tom Brady. And so this kind of Patriot mentality that like anything less than a Super Bowl is unacceptable has infected Tampa. And I just feel like they're on the precipice here where they are really close to turning on their team. And it's just like, if the Saints can get up on them early, I just think the vibes in that stadium are going to be really negative.
That's right. If the Saints, if you could give us one more good start in 2022, make it Monday. Give me, and not even, Andrew, I'm not even asking for the world. Just get me up 10-3 in the first quarter and a half. Just get me up 10-3. That's all I ask. But you talked about Tampa. Tom Brady's a mercenary. Like he's not a guy spend his whole career in Tampa. Tampa loves him because he won, but they'll throw him to the wolves, right? The other interesting thing about Tampa is Todd Bowles. The Saints fans have been critical of Dennis Allen, but when we're critical of Dennis Allen, we don't really talk specifics. We talk about things we don't understand. We talk about, the Saints are undisciplined, and Sean Payton made them win and gave them magic things that we don't understand, right? Because it's like, when Sean Payton was there, they didn't have penalties. Yeah, they did. They were the Saints are one of the most penalized teams the last 5 years. When Sean Payton was there, Kamara didn't fumble. Well, yeah, but is that really Dennis Allen? But for Todd Bowles, Tampa fans, their criticisms of him are very specific. They are like, you don't know how to manage the clock. You don't know how to manage end game situations. And it came up in Cleveland where they didn't call timeouts at the end of the game. They didn't, and they had 4th and 1 from the Browns 37. They took a delay of game and punted. And fans are like, what are you doing? You don't know how to manage the game. So that's a really interesting situation. Ideally, the Saints get up, and then Todd Bowles makes a really bad in-game decision in the second quarter, and that crowd, Andrew, boy, they'll turn on him. I want it.
Man, can't wait for that to happen. But no, look, I think the Saints have a good chance to win this game. I really do. Mm-hmm. I know it's easy to kind of piggyback on everything that's happened, but I just think I've always felt this way, regardless of what your team, what their record is, and regardless of how the year has gone, like good or bad. Every week is a new opportunity. It's a new matchup. And I have seen some of the greatest teams lose. I saw at one point like a 13-1 Patriots team just kind of like inexplicably lose to an awful Dolphins team a few years ago.
That's right.
When Tom Brady was awesome, like I just like out of nowhere, everyone was like, where did that come from? And I just think from week to week, you don't know like how the preparation was, who's injured, who is playing but under the weather. Like there's just so many things that factor in. And I just think this is a must-win for the Saints, and I'm like every game from here on out is probably a playoff.
Well, I think if they can get to 8 wins and win the rest of the games in the South, they might win the division.
Yeah, maybe.
But give me a guy, because we only have a couple minutes left. Give me a guy that we're not talking about. That if I said to you, man, this guy's going to play great, it could really swing the game. And I'm not talking about Kamara or Dalton with his primetime bugaboos. Give me a guy that you're like, man, if that guy could play good, that would really swing it to the Saints' favor.
Well, I mean, I just think Tampa's interior is still pretty good. And I think their linebackers are exceptional. So am I allowed to pick Josh Andrews?
You can pick Josh. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I mean, Cesar Ruiz might be a better one just because, like, when he gets to the second level, that's the guy that can get a hat on Devin White, on Levante David. Same with Andres Pete. So, like, those would be the obvious ones where when those two are playing well, they're good guards. And I guess I would pick Pete because Pete had a really bad game last week coming back from injury. Mm-hmm. And if he can get back to his higher level, then I think Pete playing well is a big deal for the Saints. Ruiz has played well all year, so I have confidence that he'll continue to. But the reason I say Josh Andrews is he's kind of the lowest denominator of the three up front. Mm-hmm. I just think if you can get Eric McCoy level play out of Josh Andrews, that's a huge deal.
For one night, baby. Give me one shining moment, Josh Andrews. Just one.
Yeah, so, more vaguely, I would say the Saints interior line.
Yeah. All right. We do this podcast every week. We give us the opportunity. We made the pick on the live stream. You should check it out on Twitch every Monday night or the night after the Saints play this week. Next week it'll be Tuesday. We give us the opportunity if you want to change your pick. And right now, I renounce my pick on Monday night. I renounce it in all its form. Thomas, thank you. Lock it in. Saints are going to bury the Bucs on Monday night. Going to be a special night. Your UDFA son, Andrew, is going to run a punt back for a touchdown. Saints 24-6. They're going to get to 5-8. Going to have a bye week. Going to love the bye week. And out of the bye week, Saints, Falcons for everything in the NFC South. That's my pick. I changed my mind.
Well, way to stick to your convictions, Ralph.
That's right.
Like a small baby.
You flip like the wind. It's unbelievable.
Right. I'm a politician.
I can't say I'm surprised. No, I'm not changing my pick because I stick to my convictions. And by the way, I've been picking the Saints to lose for weeks in a row. And I picked them to win this week. I was the only one on our show to pick them to win. And I'm not changing. So 17-13 Saints. Marcus Two-First is your player of the game. Yeah. He only has a half sack this year. This is the game where he bakes up that sack number a little bit and takes advantage of this matchup.
And it's on prime time. Everybody watching, he can make himself some money.
That's right.
So, guys, thanks for supporting the show. If you're not a patron, go to saintshappyhour.com, support the show, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, share it across social media. Thanks to everybody that supports the show. Thanks for Thomas for waking up in the middle of the night in Poland, recording the YouTube special edition. Guys, thanks for joining us, and we will see you Monday night after Saints Bucs on Twitter Spaces.